Well, when you come to Japan or any international destination, one of the things that you think about are the dangers associated with travel, like the mega quake or bear attacks. That's something that I'm getting a lot of people asking me about. But this one is one that's in the news quite a bit, and something that I've been following for the last couple of weeks in particular. The flu season started here in Japan quite early. I think earlier than any other year that I can remember. I remember 27 of them, so that's quite a long time. But it started around September, and all through October, I've seen the numbers going up and up. And my son is in kindergarten, so we talk with some of the other parents, and we also get information about their worries. And I know here in Tokyo, my community is worried about it because nobody wants to get sick with influenza. It's not something that's gonna, you know, take you out, but it's something that it possibly could, and it's something that you think about when you travel to a crowded area like Tokyo or Osaka or Kyoto. When you are in an area that's really crowded with a lot of other people, you really need to consider your health, because the last thing that you want to do when you come to Japan is to have influenza or any kind of sickness, to catch a cold for that matter. You want to try to avoid that and stay as healthy as possible. And in this live stream, let's talk about that so that we can prepare you for your trip in October, November, December, January, February, and March. Typically, the influenza season seems to peak around February. It's crazy that it's in November. That also might say, says, please go to second live stream, guys. Okay, so this live stream might have restarted. I'm not sure what happened there. The app crashed, but nevertheless, we are back here. I think that it's good to talk about this to prepare for it. In particular, something that you would be preparing for in like January or February, now you got to prepare for in October, November, which is crazy. I think that those years between 2020 and 2023, when everything was shut down, our immune systems might have gone down. So a lot of people are more susceptible to influenza. I'm probably going to get vaccinated because I've got a lot of upcoming trips. I'm going to be traveling to the United States. It's not a cure-all type of a vaccine. The flu vaccine typically is like 40 to 60% effective, depending year on year, but it does keep you from getting seriously ill. I'm not going to say anybody should get vaccinated, but I think it's something you might want to consider if you're going to travel internationally, because the last thing you want to do is to get seriously ill for 3 days, because you're paying a lot of money to come to Japan. It's the last thing that you want to do. If you're staying in Shinjuku or Shibuya, this is a reason maybe you don't want to stay in the crowded areas, because you don't want to be around crowds. I try not to take the subway in the winter. I just ride my bicycle, to be honest with you. But on a day like today, which is why I'm inside, it's raining. So it's a good thing to perhaps be ready for that. You're going to see a lot of people now, especially Japanese, wearing masks. It's because of the influenza season, and the Japanese news is talking about this a lot more now. And the news came out yesterday that medical institutions and the ministries, the government ministries here, are monitoring it and giving out red alerts. I don't know what that means exactly, except that it sounds concerning. Japan Times put this out yesterday. Flu cases in Japan exceeded alert level. See, there you go. Health minister says. What does that mean exactly? Let's look at the article a little bit more in depth. Of the 27 prefectures, 25 saw their average top the alert level, with the highest figure seen in Miyagi at 28.58, following by 28.47 in Kanagawa, which is right. These are sandwiched Tokyo on both ends of them, and 27.91 in Saitama. We don't see anything for Tokyo yet, right? I'm sure it's quite high here in the city. 25 point. I think this is per 1,000 people, right? A total of 2,307 kindergartners, nursery schools, and elementary, junior high schools, and senior high schools have experienced partial or complete closures due to the flu. When I forget what the threshold is, but when a certain amount of kids, what is it, like 10 or 15%, I think, are out because of the flu, they shut down the school because they just figure everybody's gotten it, and everybody should just stay home and recover and come back a lot stronger, having built up, of course, the strength that you would get after your immune system fights this stuff up. Japan entered this flu season at the end of September. That to me is really crazy to think about, because that's really early. It's the second earliest in the past 2 decades. So again, like I've been here for a long time. I don't remember the flu season starting this early, which might be a good sign. But these kinds of viruses that evolve, and there could be a second wave which I hate waves unless you're in the water, and even then, I prefer like a calm sea. Nevertheless, we are in what is, I guess, the peak of a very early flu season. So if you are visiting Japan, if you're visiting in particular the cities, um, like I don't tell you, masks are a thing that's a personal choice. If I'm on the subway now, I'm probably wearing a mask because everybody else is, because I've been living here for such a long amount of time. I can feel the social pressure to do what everybody else is doing. I it doesn't masks and masks don't protect you from getting sick. You wear masks because you might be sick and you might be spreading it, because then the mask keeps it all in. We had this debate over and over and over again during those years, those months back then. But masks have less to do with protecting you from getting sick and more to do about keeping your sickness to yourself. And that's a very unselfish thing that I think Japanese will do. I take vitamin D3 supplements and zinc every day. Vitamin D3, I think it's about 2,000 milligrams in the summer and about 5,000 in the winter, because I don't get as much sunlight. I'm a little bit darker skinned, so it's harder to get the vitamin D3, which is the sunshine thing. So it's a good supplement to take. You start to feel effects, I guess, about 2 weeks after. Most people in the world are vitamin D deficient, in particular in Japan, because they don't get a lot of sun actually in the city. People don't go outside as much, or they cover up from it. Which is a concern. That's one reason why the influenza might propagate, get around, spread much more easily, especially in the cities. And zinc is also a really good supplement to have, because we don't eat enough zinc-rich foods. But that's something that you need to consult with your doctor, something to think about. But if I can help a little bit, I take 10, it's not a lot, I take 10 milligrams, I think it is, of zinc. And in the winter, I might take 30, which is on the higher end, but I eat a lot of almonds and other foods that might be rich in zinc anyways. But zinc is something that I think people do. And if you take a lot of zinc, then you need to take some magnesium, because then you become magnesium resistant. So this is something you really need to do a little bit of research on before you start to take advice from a YouTuber. But I do think that this does help. At least I have not been seriously ill since the last time I got sick, like from the you-know-what. It's like a bad word still on the internet, but you know what I'm talking about. That was a pretty rough time, but but since taking the supplements, I've been pretty good. Getting enough sleep is another thing that you can do before you take your trip. Try to make sure you get enough sleep before and after, which is hard to do if you're a procrastinator with traveling. I see the comments already talking about this, right? We put the Christmas tree up last night. I said to Leo, if you're a good boy and Santa's always watching you, then we can put up the tree. And then yesterday, after we finished the tree, he goes, now that the tree is up, Santa's watching you much more now. He's like, oh. So that's a very important thing to do, to keep the little one in check a little bit more. But could you take vitamin D3 in Japan? Yes, you can take vitamin D3. I get it. I get my vitamins sent to me from iHerb, which I think is based in Korea, and they send like U.S. supplements. What am I taking now? Sometimes, or Nature Made. You get whatever you can get, but the vitamin industry is all self-regulated, so that's something that's kind of concerning. But I think that for certain times, especially us, since we're all indoors a lot more than we used to be. Like in the 1980s, I'd be outdoors all the time riding bikes because I was like, 10 years old. But I'm inside editing more. I don't get out as much. And the days are cloudier, and in Japan, the winters, you don't get much sunshine in the winters, which is why taking supplements is probably a good idea. Yeah, you really should ask your doctor about that. But you need K2 with D3. Yeah, K2 would be potassium, right? As well as magnesium is something that you should consider taking it. But I eat a lot of foods that are rich in magnesium and other stuff. So, I mean, I don't think I'm vitamin deficient in any means. I do think that the D3 is quite beneficial. But you don't get enough sunshine in the winters or late autumns and early springs for sure. And in the summertime, I think, you probably get enough and you don't need to take the supplements, but I still will take like 1,000 to 2,000 cc's or milligrams of the vitamin D3 because I think it's a good drug. And a prescription, and I'll take breaks from zinc every couple of months. I'll take like a week or two off to try to, I don't know. Like it's one that you probably shouldn't take too much, but something to consider. Anyways, that's all up to you, and you can decide whether or not you want to do that or get the flu vaccine. I will go and get that with my wife next week. We're feeling pretty good, so it seems like a good time. Leo had a cold yesterday. If you were watching, let me see here, yesterday's live stream, we went to the ramen. You got to go check this out if you're coming to Japan. I think it's been here for a while now, but the ramen vending machine, they had them in stock, which was odd. And we tried that yesterday. I was a little bit more excited than Leo was because I didn't realize that it was cold ramen, which is not the best. But yeah, that's yesterday's live stream. And if you haven't already this weekend, put this on your playlist. This is a really good video, despite the history section being somewhat controversial. I can live with that. Check it out. So the influenza is on the rise. It's spreading faster, and it's more widespread at this time of year. This is usually like we're not even thinking about influenza yet. People still got pretty high immunity from having a lot of sunshine in the summer months, but it is concerning because the last thing you want to do is to ruin your trip. You also want to dress up warmer now. It's raining today. We got some clouds. It might the winter. It's starting to feel a little bit more like winter, which is crazy because it just feels like the Japanese summer just ended. Fall has been unusual, but I know last week, was it last week? Well, I guess it's Sunday, so I guess you could say last week. I was out in the countryside of Japan, and I saw such an amazing view. This image, I'm pulling it up now. This is probably going to be the, excuse me, this is probably going to be the postcard for this month. I did not enhance this at all. This is crazy. This is a bridge that I was hiking across to get from one side to the other of the Shin-Etsu Trail. Beautiful hiking thing, and you can see that the colors are at their peak. This was about 2 or 3 days ago now, but it's so stunning. I'm going to make this one of the postcards as well as a map of the Shin-Etsu Trail, which is one that I hiked out there. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about bear attacks. This is, I don't know, like there are people that have been asking me, should I buy bear spray? I said, so where are you going? He said, Tokyo, Kyoto, Nara. Should I buy bear spray for Nara? And I said to them, no. You should buy deer spray or tourist spray, but you don't need to worry about bears in Nara because there's so many people around. Probably that bear is going to eat somebody else before it gets to you. And I don't think that the bears are going to be coming out in Nara because there's so many tourists and so much people. They'd have to be very desperate in order to go out to get it. So you don't want to carry around bear spray, which is equivalent to like mace. It is filled with chili pepper. You need some John Dobb spray as well, perhaps. You gotta keep me away because I'm all over the place. But tourist spray might be away. I guess in a way, bear spray could be such a thing. If you are going to be coming to Japan, I'll talk about this tomorrow. You can leave a question if you have it about bears. But look, Japanese news is all over this in a scary way. Every day now, they're putting every single attack on the news. And everybody who thought that Japanese news was not sensationalist, yeah, think again. They are very sensational. The bear attacks are happening more in like in the mountain areas. Up in Tohoku, which needs the tourists. We're seeing a lot of tourists down this autumn season. This is the best time to be out there to go and see the autumn colors, and more people are staying home, including Japanese. Why? Because the media is showing every single bear attack. We've had an increase on it in the past, but people are getting, it's like the chance of you getting attacked by a bear is extraordinarily rare. It's like, it's maybe a little bit more than getting hit by lightning. So I don't think it's an issue for tourists. Should you carry bear spray? Before you do that, hold on a second. Before you do that, let me get, you should still be able to hear me. Let me get my can of bear spray right here. So I had this yesterday. We're going to talk about it. Do you really want to carry this around? And you can't put it in your bag because then it's useless. You have to carry it in front of you so you can grab it and use it. And you have to know how to use it too. But these are, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I think it's a good question to ask, and it's a good question for me to answer. So as somebody who just got back from hiking, in the peak of the bear attack season. I'll give you my report because I was in the woods deep in many places where there are no buildings. It's just, that's bear country. It really was. I was there alone for some of it, and I'm still here. So you should be more concerned with influenza and not getting sick than bear sprays are. This was $120. No, yeah, a little bit more than $100. I got it from Bic Camera, which is an electronics store, because it's a reputable company and it has an expiration date of 2029. They usually last about 4 years. So this is a brand new can that was packaged and made this year. It's got chili pepper in it. It sprays. We'll talk about this tomorrow in more details. So I do think that it's worth talking about it. But the answer really is it's much to do about nothing. Because unless you are traveling deep into the woods, which is most people not, like 99.9% are doing that yet, then you don't have to worry about it. They're coming down to residential areas, to schools where people are living every day. They're more at risk than a tourist that's going to tourist areas. There are some places that you might want to consider, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. The more pressing thing is the influenza season right now. And when you do come to Tokyo, again, Tokyo in particular, and Kyoto, because it's so crowded, I don't know if it's something like you don't want to get sick at the beginning of your trip. So I would say, like, it might not be a bad idea to arrive and go out to the countryside. Like, book your hotels to go out to the onsen or the more remote areas and do Tokyo last before you leave. Because the last thing you want to do is to be sick and then, trying to enjoy yourself at a hot spring. You know what I mean? Have you ever had the flu? Yeah, I've had the flu. It stinks. It's awful because you get the chills, the fever, and then, the runny nose and the cold stuff afterwards for sometimes, 10 days to a week. The other thing I can say is this. I'm just learning about this stuff as well, but everybody knows what inflammation is. It's something you might want to check out. If your body is inflamed because you're eating a lot of, I don't know, like bakery items or sugar or certain things in your diet, or you're eating too much, you need your body not to be inflamed so much. Mine was too, for a lot. It gets rid of a lot of the health impacts. I've been doing the intermittent fasting, and I feel a lot better. It kind of gets all the stuff out of my system. It's not for everybody, but I haven't gotten sick in a long time, like really sick. It usually goes away within 12 hours. I felt sick, and I could feel it coming on, but it never hit. So I could tell, like, my body's fighting pretty good with this. I've been eating stuff that doesn't inflame me, staying away from the sugary stuff, which is really hard. Don't eat it, but eat well before you leave on a vacation. And then when you come to Japan, then you just go out and get the daifuku and the mochi and the sweet stuff, the melon pan with ice cream and whipped cream, and you can go out and all that, but try to keep in good shape before your trip. Try to get really good rest for a week before your trip. Try to be in really good health before your trip so that you don't get sick at the airport. And if you do, it's probably going to be something that you get over a lot quicker. Don't take alcohol on the airplane. And this is the hardest thing, because, like, when you're on an airplane, especially the Japanese carriers, it's like all you can drink, really. I pretty much cut alcohol. I'd have like maybe one drink a month, and usually when I'm with my wife's father, my father-in-law, who likes to drink a lot more than I do, I'll have like half a beer with him, but I pretty much have given up alcohol, except when I'm working and with him. Which is hard. It would be rude to say no. But it's hard to say no to drink on the plane, but that's also one of the toughest things that you can do. It might help you get to sleep, but like when I was in my 30s, I would definitely get like 2 or 3 on the plane because they were free and you could, and it was just cool. It's not that cool anymore. So something to think about. The food on the airplane is not always good, so you don't want to I don't know. I used to take what am I saying used to? I still take a lemon or a lime on the flight with me, and I'll squeeze the lemon on the plane, and I don't make sure you throw away the lime and the lemon before you get to immigrations, but you can bring fruit with you onto the plane. So I would be squeezing that lemon and the lime into my water. I always get, instead of beer, I get sparkling water. We call it tansansui, carbonated water. So I'll just get tansansui onegaishimasu. Tansansui kudasai. So I get my tansansui. Kori iranai desu. No ice. And I cut my lemon, or I have to man rip it like this. You have to do that face, and then you squeeze it in there, and that's really good. But I don't drink alcohol. I love my water or tea. I found like I don't drink Coca-Cola or soda pop anymore. I just found that I liked the bubbles. So I can eat unsalted nuts with carbonated water, and it feels like I'm at a bar. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. I don't know. I feel a lot better. If I was with Peter, I probably would get like, I used to call the people who got those half pints like wimps or half pints, but that's what I get now. I'm a real wimp. And I just found out that the word wussy is not a good word, because it takes two words and makes it even worse. So I was discussing that on the Discord server. It's not a good word. But I thought that was a workaround from saying the actual P word. But I found out that it's incorporating it with the word wimp. So, like, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. But this stuff I do. My advice is to get your flu vaccination, writes in somebody here. I saw it go by there. Thanks for that. I think that's a personal choice. I think if you're a healthy person, you're a healthy adult, you're probably going to be okay. But if you're traveling abroad, the vaccine most likely will make the sickness much lighter. The thing is, though, and this is the problem, if you get the flu vaccine now, you're not covered in March, because it only has like about a 2 month. It takes a few weeks before you build up the immunity. That's another thing to consider. You definitely want to get it like 2 weeks before your trip at least. And then the immunity starts to really wane quickly. Like 2 months later, the flu vaccine doesn't have the same effect as it did when it became really effective in your system. So that's something to consider. Like the timing of the flu shot. Typically, I will get the flu shot December 1st because I know I need it in February. But if I get the flu shot now, it's not really that great in February when the flu season really is. But if the flu season peaks like now, then maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to get the flu shot at all, because by the time I'm got the immunity for the flu season's like over. So that's something you really have to consider too. Common sense as well. But the last thing anybody ever wants to do is to get sick when they're traveling abroad, and this is the peak right now. At least that's what the data looks like. And it could be getting a little bit worse, but it looks like we're at the point where you throw the ball up and it sort of suspends there for a little bit. This might stick around for another 2-3 weeks, and then I think the numbers will come down around New Year's, which is odd because that's when it starts to spread. John, as I was listening to you, drinking my vitamin C, great with flying. I know. There you go. Got to stay healthy. That's the best way to do it and enjoy your trip. Stay away from junk food and try to eat healthy and get as much rest as possible a few days before your trip. Then when you travel, you're going to travel so much better and enjoy it a lot more. And you'll also have the immune system to be able to fight off anything and then get back to it a lot easier. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. The immunity from the flu vax lasts 4 to 6 months. Erica, that's what they say, but the doctor I talked to last year when I got the flu shot, actually no, 2023 when I got the last flu shot, I didn't get one last year. He said that the efficacy of it really wanes after a couple of months. So if you get it too early, it's not going to be as effective later on. However, with that said, the flu is always evolving, and we don't know for sure. They use the strains from before to make the vaccine, so it's also something to consider. It does not hurt to get it. I've been vaccinated with the flu vaccine many times, but again, it's something that everybody needs to consider. I think if you're a little bit on the older side, it might be something worth doing. If you're a kid that likes to touch everything and then put your fingers in your mouth, like my son, probably going to get the flu vaccine because he's at high risk of it, and then giving it to grandpa, which would not be great here in Japan. Grandpa cut his finger yesterday, which is concerning. he was chopping something, and he looked behind, and Grandpa here, my wife said he likes to sharpen his knives because he has a lot of free time. That is so creepy. When she said that, I thought that was the creepiest thing. She goes, okay, so he's got a lot of free time, so he sharpens his knives. What? I guess it's an older generation thing, but he likes to make sure that his knives can cut like you know, the Ginsu knives that you can cut a tomato, and the knife just looks at the tomato and the tomato gives up and just starts to cut itself. That's how sharp his knives are. So he cut his finger yesterday, and I said, you should use the knives that I have because you have to exert a lot of pressure to cut them. I can't even cut my finger, I think, if I applied pressure. That's how bad my knives are. But he's sending a message to try to, hold on. I'm reading the live comments here. I'll put it on the screen here so you can see it. But we're going to keep this live stream relatively short anyways. Do you have any questions about the flu in Japan, how to prepare for it, or any questions about how to prepare for your trip in November this month or in December? Because a lot of people are going to be visiting before the Christmas season too. The best thing to do is eat healthy, get plenty of sleep, and get your vitamin D3. Vitamin D with calcium is not what you want, I've heard. It depends if you need calcium. Everybody's different. But vitamin D3 is the sunshine one. That's the one that's the most important. But vitamin D with calcium, be real careful with that one. But again, all this stuff you really need to talk with the doctor just to confirm a lot of it. But do your research on it. I think that that's really good to do. It's great because we get so much information, but inevitably it's going to be your doctor or any medical professional. We've got nurses and doctors that are watching this as well that will be able to give you the final information. D3 with K2. Thanks, Vape King. What are the visiting rules at hospitals if you need to go? Thanks for that. That's a great question. Bring a mask. Every hospital in Japan will ask you to wear a mask when you're inside, because not just for your own protection, let's just say, but for everybody else's, because everybody feels a lot more comfortable when everybody is masked up. Typically, you can find mask vending machines where they sell like 2 or 3 of them, or maybe even one. It just depends. For like 100 yen, if you need to have a mask, you can get one there. We can talk about the effectiveness of masks another time, but it's something that's something of a rule at Japanese hospitals, that if you do go in there, you can get them all over the country as well. To have one in your pocket. This is a great piece of advice here. You don't have to agree with me. You don't even have to wear the mask, okay? It's a good idea to have 1 or 2 with you and just put it in your pocket. I have a breast pocket that has masks in there. I don't wash my jackets every single day, so I have the masks in there, and if I ever need it, then I put it on, because there's some social situations where it's a good idea to have a mask in Japan. I do think other rules in the hospital, make sure you have your health insurance card. You can't always pay by credit card. I think it's a lot easier to do now, but usually at my hospital, there's a vending machine where you pay. So they'll give you the receipt, and then you would go to the vending machine, and then you would pay. They'd give you the total minus I have the national health insurance in Japan. Minus that, I think I pay 20% of the cost, and then I go to the vending machine and I'll pay. It's usually like, I don't know, like $10 to $20 or something like that for each visit, maybe even less. And you can go to the pharmacy afterwards if they have a prescription. But that's pretty. I think the one rule that's probably the best one. Make sure you get a ticket. Usually there's a Sadie-Ken with a number on it, and they do everything with the number system here. You can go to the information center and they'll guide you to which number to push, which department to go to. If you go to a hospital, I would recommend going to a clinic, and almost every train station has like an Ekimai clinic, and those are usually the front line for this kind of stuff, meaning everybody who's Japanese will be going to the clinic. So it's a good idea to call. You can have your hotel do it if you're feeling bad, to call the clinic and ask them for a reservation or an appointment, and then that will help you. If you want an English-speaking doctor, on the Yaisu side of Tokyo Station, there's an international clinic, and it's full of international people from abroad, of course, that are getting help from, I think there's 3 doctors that speak fluent English inside of there, and they'll be able to help you too if you want an English doctor. But for the flu, I think that the local doctors can speak enough English to recognize your symptoms and give you the flu medication, which is like the Tamiflu or whatever they're given these days. I don't know because I haven't gotten the flu in a long time. Do you need to have other vaccines to enter Japan? I don't think so. You're going to have to check that out yourself. Some people ask me about Japanese encephalitis. The name has Japanese in it, but unless you're going to like the deep wooded areas, you don't need it. I haven't heard of too many people who come up with that. I've been vaccinated for Japanese encephalitis, but it wasn't because I was in Japan. It's because I was going to like South America and Africa, and I was getting Japanese encephalitis. I even got yellow fever shots because I think you required that back in 2001 when I did my trip to Africa with the safari. I got yellow fever shots when I went to South America as well. So yeah, those shots, they stink, by the way, and they're kind of pricey. I got my yellow fever shot in Beijing, believe it or not, and it was $3. I got it at the Beijing Medical Center. It was state-run. I was a little bit worried. They gave you a little yellow book, which was your vaccine book. It's all in English and Chinese too, and I had yellow fever stamped in there, and it was the most bizarre thing. I get a lot of stories like these, but when I was backpacking in the days, I think this was 2001, July of 2001. I went in there for the yellow fever vaccine, recommended by the Chinese tourism office, and there's like basically no line. She takes the needle, brand out of the package, so you know it's a new needle, puts it yellow fever confirmed, and then she goes like this. This is 2001. China was a different country. She goes like this. And behind her, I'm not joking, there is a mountain in the corner of the wall, I'm not joking, of syringes. This is the most illogical way to do it. They don't do this in China anymore, but in like this is the great transition time before the Beijing Olympics and everything. There was a wall of used needles in the corner, and I'm like, all right, let's go do this. I took the Trans-Mongolian Railroad across Mongolia and Siberia through Moscow and Belarus, and got to, which you can't do today, and got to Poland, to Warsaw eventually. And then from Amsterdam, I went with a bunch of Dutch friends to South Africa, and we took a safari with somebody who was ex-South African military, which is cool. We crashed one of our vehicles in the bush, and and 3 of us had to camp. I was one of them in the raw in the raw Botswana plains, which is the scariest night because there were lions around us. We could hear them outside, but they're not going to go inside the tent. That's another trip. But when I go back to vaccines, I think about that story. Do you need the vaccines? Travel vaccines are always a good idea. Typhoid was one that I always get when I went to India and other countries where the water is suspect. But meningitis also something you should consider if you're going to places where there's mosquitoes or it's subtropical. But other than that, I don't think that there's too much. Dengue fever is something to watch out for. Dengue, I had that 3 times. You don't want it. There's reasons why locals don't wear shorts and tank tops, all right? And tourists do. If you see locals wearing long pants, there's a reason why they're wearing long pants, okay? It's because of dengue fever. You don't want it. It's worse than influenza. One of them, I had the hemorrhage one, and whatever that means, and I got it in Cambodia, and I had to go to Bangkok, and then eventually to Singapore and check myself into a hospital in 2003, because I was wearing tank tops and shorts walking around Angkor Wat. I think it might be okay now, but that was the dumbest thing, and I felt so sick. I almost died. I was 3 months was a recovery time for that. So yeah, and it wasn't until I got to Singapore I checked myself in at the hospital. I was there for 5 days, and then flew back to Japan. I was living in Utsunomiya at the time, and I was at the hospital every week for checkups as they evaluated, made sure that I was okay. Because they said this to me, which scared the crap out of me. They says, "Don't get this again. Next time it'll kill you." That's what they said. At least that's what I think the translation of what he said was. But he said, "Don't get dengue again." So you won't find me wearing, short shorts and a tank top around tropical areas anymore. dengue fever is real and it stinks. And there have been cases of it in Tokyo as well. So there's a reason why people wear pants in these areas, but you certainly need to consider that. I was young, but that was the worst like 2 months of my life, because you have zero energy. And I'm like, am I going to be like this for life? But eventually, you know, it goes away, apparently. But they said, don't get it again. It gets worse every time. That was the second time I'd had it. Or I had it one time, and the second or third time I had it. And it's like 3 strikes and you're out type of a thing. So dengue is not good, right? Yeah, I was hospitalized for a week after I got dengue fever. This is from one of the viewers here. Yeah, you don't want to get dengue fever. So be careful when you travel abroad. The stuff, like in Japan, we talk about the megaquake. We talk about bear attacks. Traveling is a lot riskier than you think. Our planet is alive, man. And the mosquitoes, they're the worst, okay? Lyme's disease is pretty bad too. I know people who've had it. That's a very long recovery these days. I don't ever remember anyone talking about this in the 1980s when I was growing up. So I don't even know where Lyme disease came out of left field as far as I'm concerned. But it's something I consider when I go back home to the United States, because we do have Lyme disease here, but it's not something that it's as prevalent as in the United States right now. We're talking about a lot of topics here, but for those that are joining us talking about this very important discussion, this is something that NHK has been talking about. Flu cases in Japan more than double week on week. Influenza case counts in Japan in the week until Sunday were more. This came out yesterday. Double the figure of the previous week. The Japan Institute for Health Security and others say about 3,000 medical institutions. Let me put this on pause here. Nationwide reported 57,000. That's a lot of cases. That's 2.4 times the figure of the week before. So it is absolutely increasing at a incredible pace. If it doubles again, then we haven't peaked. The number of patients per institution stood at 14.9, up 8.6. That's a big increase, and this is the first time this season that the flu figures top 10. Japan Ministry, this is so early, says that the case counts exceeded 10 6 weeks earlier, but the ministry cautions that the simple comparisons cannot be made because the number of institutions that report cases was not from around 5,000 from April. So this is so early in the season. A lot of medical institutions are not prepared for this, okay? They're not prepared for the flu season. So again, this another reason it might be good to get vaccinated. The number has exceeded 20 in Kanagawa. The numbers are high all around Tokyo right now. One of the reasons is because the commuter trains from Tokyo, people get sick on those commuter trains. So it's a good idea to avoid those if you can. Hokkaido is always a place that has really high influenza counts. I don't know why, because I always thought that Hokkaido was a lot more spread out, but I think it's because of kids going to school, family members, transportation, the colder weather. It's drier in Hokkaido at this time of year, right before the snows. It has snowed in some of the areas, but it seems like winter is early this year. It feels there's a chill in the air that I don't remember at this time of year. And every time it rains in November, the Guns N' Roses song comes in my head. So a product of the 80s, as you all know. With the high number, let's see here. With the high number of tourism, any type of virus is easily spread. Yes, so we can only try our best. The thing is, especially from abroad, with all the people coming from outside, they bring what they have with them here. And I think in general, and this is another episode that's coming up next week about the anti-immigration and anti-tourism stuff that you're hearing in the news as well. Dogen I don't know if you guys know Dogen, he made an incredible video on this, very solid video on it, like a realistic look at it, which is great. A lot of people worry so much about what you see on the news and the media. Whatever you see on the Japanese media, please take this with a grain of salt, because even the Japanese media, including NHK, are leaning into sensationalism. And the reason why is because if you're not watching NHK, then you're not getting their non-sensational news. So I've noticed that NHK is somewhat sensational in their news reporting on the bear attacks, on the economy, on this and that, because people want, no one is watching NHK, there's no reason to fund them, I guess. So it's something that's been concerning me a little bit as somebody who used to work with NHK quite a bit. I think there's a little bit of sensationalism from the public broadcaster, which is crazy. But you don't have to really worry too much about bear attacks. I think the most worrying thing right now for tourists is this. And it's not a huge thing that you should worry about, but taking precautions could save you. Hey, John. Hey, that Vaughn chick. And I think it was Peter who called you that because you're like Vaughn. Because Peter's middle name is like Vaughn. He's like, Vaughn is a girl? That Vaughn chick. And it stuck. Was it 2017 or something? It's so great to see you. Long time no see. I'm currently in Osaka. Are you heading back to Tokyo, hoping not to catch this before I get back to Sydney? I hope not too. I see Leo's all grown up. He is. Be careful. Or he may take over the channel. You saw yesterday's live stream. He absolutely is taking over the channel, and that's great for me because I love to just give him the camera and just go, okay, go out and make a video, and I'm gonna stay home today. And tell me how it goes when you come back. I trust him. I don't that much. He would make if it was up to Leo, he would make an episode on poo and pee because all kids at this age are obsessed with bodily fluids. And I think that you know what? I think more people would probably watch because it'd probably be really funny at first, but don't encourage that kind of behavior from a kid that's 4. I'm telling you. If you get sick in Japan, I recommend buying oral rehydration solutions from Pocari instead of Pocari Sweat. I don't know about Pocari Sweat's pretty good at getting you rehydrated, but when I got, all right, let's end on this because I got to get back to work. One of the most unusual things that I saw in Japan was when I got here in 1998, there was an extraordinary number of Japanese that were, Carrie, I'm not going to schedule that stream of Leo talking about duty. And don't encourage him, Carrie. You know better. An extraordinary amount of people in Japan, and I'm talking about my coworkers who are usually like female, 20 years old English teachers, Japanese females, 20 years old English teachers, would say like, oh, you look a lot better today. What did you do? And he goes, oh, this morning I had an IV drip. I said, you had an IV drip? Can you just do that? So you went to the doctors and you had an IV drip. Okay, is that normal? And it was like, that was a normal thing to go in and get an IV drip. Where like they put the IV, you know, like, and you're drinking vitamins and stuff with the IV drip. In 1998, that was like normal. I was like, what? So you were so sick and so dehydrated or whatever that, and this wasn't just 1 or 2 or 3. This is like, I worked at 17 different schools for the English language chain. I was like a turnaround manager, I like to call it. They called it an emergency teacher. But I turned around every school, but every single teacher in the wintertime, there was 1 or 2 of them that had gone in for IV drips like it was a normal thing. And I thought that was bizarre. Like IV drips are, in Asia, IV drips are more common. Yeah, but I didn't know that in 1998, and we didn't have the internet either. I thought that was weird, because that's what you do when like someone's been critically, like in a car accident or something, right? It's like, what? You get that if you just got the flu? So you had an IV drip and you feel better? That's interesting. And the Genki drinks, these drinks that people take with mega vitamins in them to get Genki, we called them Genki drinks. That was also like a one drink solution, were the Genki drinks. The last thing I want to talk about, post-Japan withdrawal what is that? Oh, post-Japan. I thought you were talking about Japan Post. I see Alex found the green tea. That's another good drink to have. My son started to drink, and it was my suggestion. So I forced this onto my son, which is a drink called R1, which Peter, whose son is now in I guess he's in high school. He's going to international school, I believe. I'm not sure. He drinks this drink called R1, made by Kirin, and it's got a special bacteria in it, like a yogurt drink, that studies have shown it keeps like 90% of the kids from getting sick. I'm not joking. You can go in and search this. R-1 drink from Kirin Beverages. You go to the supermarket and it's got its own like aisle. It's got like so many kinds of them. It's crazy. R1 is, I think I got a picture of it. Yeah, there's a bacteria in it that keeps people from getting very sick. And I was surprised by it. I saw this, oh, here it is. I was actually in Shibuya not too long ago doing a live stream. Here it is. And I was walking by and I saw the R1 man. And I said, wow, okay, my son drinks this all the time. And they said, you want to take a picture? Then they put me on Fuji TV. I was on TV in Japan doing this. They gave me one free bottle of R1, not that big one, but a really, they come in bottles that are like this big, like Yakult, but bigger. And Leo's, if you drink it every single day, even for adults, that's the portion size that has the most, that's most effective. And drinking more than that doesn't seem to give you more protection, they said, but maybe a little bit. But he drinks that every day now. And as a result, I think he's not getting sick as much. So a lot of the kids in Japan are doing that as a precaution. But now I'm paying like 4,000 yen a month to Kirin, like to buy 30 drinks for Leo, which is crazy. So I don't know. It's a probiotic. Meiji, is it Meiji or Kirin? It could be Meiji, right? Eagle. Thank you. I'm not sure if it's Meiji or Kirin. Meiji, right? Meiji milks. I was saying Kirin beverages. Meiji. Kirin has a competitor to it, let's just say. So Meiji's R1. I'd love to do an episode on it, but it has, it's every single parent that I talk to, their kids are taking R1 or eating the yogurt. The problem is that it has sugar in it, corn syrup. Japan is not on the anti-corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. You'll find high fructose corn syrup in a lot of stuff in Japan. So you have to eat the yogurt one in order to get no sugar. But the little bottle drink ones, some of them have stevia. I don't even know what that is. It's like some sugar substitute. So that's something I'm concerned about, but it's a very small amount. But the probiotic R1 seems to be doing a good job of keeping people healthy here in Japan. Heather's like, I never heard of it. I know, I didn't hear about it until at the beginning of this year when Peter told me about it. I'm like, how did your son get through school without getting so sick? He asked his wife, he goes, we drank R1. I'm like, what? Then I started to do some research and I said, this stuff seems to really work. So having a little bit of yogurt and R1 might be an answer. I don't know. Stevia crap I put in my coffee. D-Fluid, you put it in your coffee, but you still call it crap. I found I don't even need the sugar anymore, but I don't know. The only Japanese yogurt officially approved by Bulgaria's government is Meiji's Bulgaria yogurt. I stopped eating that because I saw that they put a lot of stuff in it. So I just eat the Okinos. I think I might have a here, and I put it in the thing. I eat the Greek Okinos yogurt one with almonds, and I'll break up a dried fig or a prune. So prunes are actually really good. They got a bad rap. You know, prunes keep you right. Prunes got a bad rap. I think they're pretty good. If I eat one and I put it in my yogurt, they're pretty sweet. It's like a natural sugar, I guess. But yeah, the R1s. But here's the thing, okay? You have to drink it for like a week before you start to get any benefits from it. And you have to keep doing it until the end. You can't just drink it once and call it a magical thing. It's not a magic bullet. What it is it'll give you a built-up immunity. So you have to eat it and drink it every day, every morning, in order for it to be useful. R1 is a drink. You see the thing I'm holding? That's R1. It's not that big. It's like a little veil thing about this big, but you'll find in the supermarkets for about $1.40 or sometimes 3 for 400 yen sometimes. It depends. You'll see them in convenience stores, but you won't have the flavors. So there's blueberry, strawberry, there's multivitamin, there's sugar-free, which actually is not sugar-free. It's stevia. I want the one with no sugar that's just the milk taste, but they don't have it. You got to buy, and they also have a yogurt which has that same bacteria in it, the probiotic in it. UFO Bob, is that you trying to make a joke? R1D3, where are you? Is that an R2D2 joke? I just want to get that clear. Was that an R2D2 joke? UFO Bob? I have to confirm this. Yes. That was so bad. I love it. Keep thinking of ways to incorporate it. That was so bad. It was good. Oh, UFO Bob. That was funny. All right, guys. Thanks. Take care. I'll see you in another live stream. But if you have questions, you can leave in the comments below as Leo gets home right now. let the day begin for real. And the sun just came out. That's what's making me bright. All right, guys. Mata ne. You want to see Leo maybe?
Daddy?
Did you drink R1 today?
No.
No? Now I know what I got to do right now.
Oh my God.
What the heck is that? Is that Duffy?
Yes.
Do I like Duffy? Do I like Duffy?
It's mine.
I don't like Duffy. I don't. All right. See you. Madane.